All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash. I like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. This is the brother Yahweh from GMS Detroit, and this is going to be a continuation of the 10 plagues of Egypt, So just pretty much picking up where I left off, we're going to go into, the next plague, which is the plague of boils, So Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. And it says, this is Exodus chapter 9 and verse 8. And it says, "And the Lord said unto Moses and unto Aaron, Take you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward the heaven in the sight of Pharaoh, and it shall become small dust in the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beasts throughout all the land of Egypt. And they took ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it up toward heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beasts. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boil was upon the magicians and upon all the Egyptians. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord spake, as the Lord had spoken unto Moses, So the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart again, man. He didn't want to listen. So let's see which one of their other Egyptian gods, the Lord confounded. And this is Nut or Nut, however, it don't matter. It says the Egyptian goddess of the sky. And it says, again, warning is given before the encampment of the plague takes place. Pharaoh is warned of the impending doom that will be faced if he does not listen to the Lord and forgot his own Egyptian gods and goddesses. Slakia, that's the wrong one, Slakia. So Isis is the one I meant to go to. Isis, Egyptian goddess of medicine and peace, says, unannounced, the sixth Egyptian plague is given for the first time, directly attacking the Egyptian people themselves. Being instructed by the Lord, Moses took ashes from the furnace of affliction and threw them into the air. As the dust from the ashes blew over Egypt, it settled on man and beast alike in the form of boils and sores. As with the previous two, throughout the remaining Egyptian plagues, the division is drawn between the Egyptians and the children of Israel. As Yahweh gives protection to his covenant people, the severity of the judgment Yahweh has now became personal, as it is actually felt by the people themselves, cleanliness being paramount in the Egyptian society. This plague pronounces the people unclean. The magicians who have been seen throughout the previous plagues are unable to perform ceremonially rituals to their Egyptian gods and goddesses. In this unclean state, not allowing them to even stand before Pharaoh, they are even seen in the scriptural account no more. It is great to notice the contrast shown as Moses and Aaron are the only ones left standing in front of Pharaoh with one true power as their statement. And yes, man, there is only one true power, that is being Yahweh, man. He's the only true power, and this would This is what Pharaoh didn't understand, man. He still wanted to hold on to his false gods. So what did the Lord do next? It's like you. So jumping down, this is Exodus chapter 9 and verse 18. And it says, Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as hath not been in Egypt since the foundation thereof, even until now. Send therefore now and gather thy cattle, and all that thou hast in the field, for upon every man and beast which shall be found in the field shall not be brought home. The hail shall come down upon them, and they shall die. It's like he that feared the word of the Lord among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants, made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses. And he left, and he that regarded not the word of the Lord left his servants and his cattle in the field. And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch forth thine hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon man and upon beast, and upon every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched forth his rod toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and the fire ran along the ground, and the Lord rained hail upon the land of Egypt, man. So there was hail and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in the land of Egypt since it became a nation. You know what? I'm read the next couple verses too, man. It says, and the hail smote throughout all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and beast, and the hail smote every herb of the field, and brake every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, there was no hail. And yeah, man, while Israel was in, the land of Goshen, pretty much, safe, and unharmed, those Egyptians were catching hell, man. They were catching hell. Literally, metaphorically speaking, man, they was catching hell. So now we go to Nut, the Egyptian goddess of the sky. It says, again, warning is given before the encampment or enactment of the plague takes place. Pharaoh is warned of the impending doom that will be faced if he does not listen to the Lord and forget his own Egyptian gods and goddesses. Hail of unspeakable size and ability to destroy would rain down from the sky and turn to fire as it hit the ground. The Lord, in showing Pharaoh that there is none like him in the earth, allows those who are willing to hear his word and do as he commands to be saved. A division is now felt between the Egyptians in the form of those converted to the Lord, as shown by their obedience and willingness to escape the protection. Willingness to escape to the protection of their houses. Similarly, it's a tongue twister. Similarly, we are warned to make our houses a place of refuge from the world today. We have been warned. It says, interestingly enough, the crops that were destroyed by the hail consisted of flax and barley, which were ripening in the fields. These two particular crops were not the mainstay of their diet, but were used more specifically for clothing and libations. This destruction would make their life uncomfortable, but as far as affecting their food supply, the wheat still survived. This gave the Egyptians still enough chance to turn to the one true power and forsake their own Egyptian gods and goddesses, thus showing his mercy and grace. Yet, it's like you, even yet, you know. See, yeah, man, the Lord sent the hail that was mixed with fire, man. So, again, he plagued their crops as well, you know. So, on to the next plague. What did the Lord do? Says Exodus chapter 10 and verse 1, and the headline reads, the plague of locusts. Says, and the Lord said unto Moses, go in unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, that I might show these my signs before him, and that thou mayest tell in the ears of thy son and of thy son's son what things I have wrought in Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that ye may know how that ye may know how that I am the Lord. Yeah, man, are not the plagues of Egypt still talked about to this day? Verse 3, it says, and Moses and Aaron came in unto Pharaoh and said unto him, thus saith the Lord power of thus saith the Lord power of the Hebrews, how long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring the locusts into thy coasts, and they shall cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth, and they shall eat the residue of that which is escaped, which remaineth unto you from the hail, and they shall eat every tree which groweth for you out of the field, and they shall fill thy houses and the houses of all thy servants and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen since the day that you are upon the earth unto this day. And he turned himself and went out from Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's servant said unto him, how long shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the men go, that they may serve the Lord their power. Knowest thou not yet that Egypt is destroyed? So yeah, even his servants is coming to him, telling him, man, let these people go, man. Let these people go. But again, Pharaoh didn't want to listen. So let's get back to the article. Which God did the Lord confound next? Seth, Egyptian god of storms and disorder. So it said, still Pharaoh would not listen to the message of the Lord. Still he relies on his own Egyptian gods and goddesses. The eighth plague issued by the Lord had an even greater purpose than all the others. It was to be felt so that Pharaoh would even tell his sons and his sons' sons. Damn, man. He was going to be telling his grandsons about this, man. The mighty things of the Lord, thus teaching even future generations of the power of the strong hand of Yahweh over all the other Egyptian gods and goddesses. Moses and Aaron approached Pharaoh with the same request, let my people go, that they may serve me, and pronounced the judgment of locusts, if not heeded. This is the second wave of destruction to follow the hail, and whatever crops were left intact after that display were now completely consumed by the locusts, by the swarms of locusts that were unleashed from the sky. This wonder definitely affected their life source by hitting them in their food supply. The Lord displayed the possibility of imminent, it's like an imminent death if a change of heart did not occur. Yet still, Pharaoh would not listen, man. So, you know, Pharaoh wouldn't listen. He would not listen. He didn't want to let us go, man. He wanted to keep us in the land. So the Lord sent those locusts to eat whatever crops they had left over, you know. And let's get into the next one, you know. This is Exodus chapter 10 and verse 21, darkness over the land. And it says, and the Lord said unto Moses, stretch forth, it's like you stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt, man. So this just wasn't, any regular darkness, man. It was so dark that you could feel it, man. It says that Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but all the dwellings of the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, go ye, serve the Lord, only let your flocks and your herds be stayed, let your little ones also go with you. See, yeah, man. So yeah, y'all can go, but man, just leave y'all flocks, man. Leave y'all sheep. Oh man. Oh man. Ain't how that work. So to back that up, I'm gonna get Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17. Start at verse 1, and it says, for great are thy judgments, and cannot be expressed. Therefore unnurtured souls have erred. For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, the Israelites, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and fettered with the bonds of a long night, laid their exile from the eternal providence. For while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions. Yeah, man, those Egyptians, they were seeing things and they were hearing things, man. Again, the Lord put that separation. So wherever, Israel was, they were in the land of Goshen, or if they weren't just there, but, wherever Israel was, they had light, but wherever the Egyptians was, it was darkness, Verse 4, it says, for neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenances, man. They were seeing demons as well, man. And this was a very, very thick darkness, man. And the next verse is going to go into it. Verse 5, no power of the fire might give them light, neither could the bright flames of the stars endure the lighten that horrible night. So yeah, man, they couldn't even see the fires that they lit, man. They couldn't even see the stars, man. That's how dark it was, man. The Lord wasn't playing. Says verse 6, only there appeared unto them a fire kindled of itself, very dreadful, for being much terrified, they thought the things which they saw to be worse than that. It's like then the sight they saw not, man. So, they were so scared, man. They were more scared of the things that they couldn't see than the things that they could see, man. The Lord was driving them crazy. Lord was driving these Egyptians crazy, man. And rightfully so. So I'm just going to read a couple more verses, man. It's a good chapter to read. It says, as for the illusions of art magic, they were put down, and their vaunting and wisdom was reproved with disgrace. For they that promised to drive away terrors and troubles from a sick soul were sick themselves for fear and worthy to be laughed at. Yeah, man, Pharaoh's magicians, because they couldn't do this plague, They were only able to do a couple, man. They were able to turn the water into blood and bring the frogs. But after that, man, they couldn't do nothing else, man. They was even scared themselves. So, those Egyptian magicians were worthy to be laughed at. You know, Verse 9, for though no terrible thing did fear them, yet being scared with beasts that passed by and hissing of serpents, they died for fear, denying that they saw the air which could of no side be avoided. See, yeah, man, they were hearing animals, you know, and even them hearing that, they died because they were so afraid, man, you know, and which God did the Lord, which false God did the Lord confound? Ra, the sun god, says darkness now fell upon Egypt, unannounced as a prelude to the future fate to be felt by the Egyptian empire when the message of the Lord was not heeded, and they still turned to their own Egyptian gods and goddesses. 3 days of palpable darkness that was so immense it could physically be felt covered the land of Egypt. The sun, the most worshipped god in Egypt, rather like it other than Pharaoh himself, gave no light. The Lord showed that he had control over the sun as a witness that the power of Israel had ultimate power over life and death. The psychological and religious impact would have a profound influence on the Egyptians at this point. Darkness was a representation of death, judgment, and hopelessness. Darkness was a complete absence of light. And yeah, man, those Egyptians were going crazy, you know, because they could not see. And let's see the last Egyptian god that the Lord confounded, This is Exodus chapter 11. As you can see, the last plague. It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, yet will I bring one plague more upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. Afterwards, he will let you go. Hence, when he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out hence altogether. Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor, and of every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. Excuse me. So pretty much, the Lord, had our people take, silver and gold from the Egyptians, whatever they had that was valuable, they took it from them, because again, we're about to be released from Egypt, because the Lord was going to unleash this last plague, and it says, and Moses said, thus saith the Lord, about midnight will I go into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maid servant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beasts. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be any more. It's like it, nor shall be, nor shall it. Nor shall be like it anymore. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. And, again, the Lord put a difference between us and them, man, because he protected Israel, while he was afflicting, the Egyptians. Verse 8, all these thy servants shall come down unto me and bow down themselves unto me, saying, get thee out, and all the people that follow thee. And after that, I will go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in a great anger. And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. And Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, and the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he will not let the children of Israel go out of his land. you know. And then Exodus chapter 12, pretty much goes over into, that night, the Passover, you know. But I'm going to end it on this. And it says the last Egyptian god that the Lord, confounded was Pharaoh, says the ultimate power of Egypt, you know. And it says Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, was worshipped by the Egyptians because he was considered to be the greatest Egyptian god of all. It is believed that he was actually the son of Ra himself, manifest in the flesh, and I think that word Pharaoh, if I'm not mistaken, means, child of the sun, or that may be, Ramses II, if, that particular, Pharaoh. I could be mistaken, but, if, someone could correct me. It says, after the plague of darkness fell throughout the land was lifted, Pharaoh resumed his position of bargaining with the Lord and offered Moses another deal. Since virtually all the Egyptian animals had been consumed by the judgments of the Lord, Pharaoh now consented to request made to the left, Slakia, to let the people go, but they must leave their animals behind. This was totally this was a totally unacceptable offer, as the animals were to be used as the actual sacrifice to the Lord. The Lord is uncompromising when he has set the terms. Enraged by the refusal, Pharaoh pronounced the last deadly plague to be unleashed upon the land from his very own lips, as he warns Moses, get thee from me, take heed to thyself, see my face no more, for in that day thou seest my face, thou shalt die. And Moses said, thus saith the Lord, about midnight I will go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon the throne, even the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beasts. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it anymore, And then again, it goes into, the Passover. So pretty much, this is it, going into, the 10 plagues of Egypt, man. Each plague was to confound, all the Egyptian gods, So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. To the next time I say Shalom.